Okay, folks, this is Acid Root. So this is basically the spar with Rick Bruiser, who's actually a rather tough individual. And so, unfortunately, the win does not happen in this match, and I'm just going to have to find other means towards actually beating him. Because he has, as you'll see as this fight goes on, he has way too many techniques, and he's pretty fucking strong on top of that. So it's mostly across like the idea of, I mean, you really have to, I mean, I'll tell you, if you are trying to do this game on just a regular Super Nintendo, yeah, I mean, it's going to take a lot of resetting the machine and fighting the first two fighters over again, because that's basically what happens. So, I mean, some folks might say that Rick Bruiser is actually tougher than Nick Bruiser, but either way, I mean, both these assholes take a lot of commitment. And that's the thing, I felt like Hoy Corlo was definitely the toughest up to that point, but it didn't necessarily take, like, days on top of days. I feel like in some cases this guy could take weeks on top of weeks just to get enough of, like, the rhythm to figure out his techniques to actually be able to beat him. And then, of course, you know, after you beat this guy, then you have to be able to beat him easily every single time you want to fight Nick Bruiser. So it's kind of, I mean, I don't want to say that, like, I won't finish this project, but I'm really scrambling to kind of figure out what necessarily is going to happen for the future of this. Because I had intentions of beating this, but I just didn't have, like, any sort of clue that these guys were this much of a nightmare to really fight. And that's just kind of the thing. I mean, I've been playing this, like, all month and then some, just to be able to kind of knock these guys down. I just finally said I tried creating a second file, but then I couldn't even get past Super Macho Man, so I lost my skill set to be able to beat him. So I was just like, fuck it, you know, I'm not gonna keep playing this game to that degree. I mean, hey, look, I managed to knock him down once, so you at least have to give me credit there, but I just would have to do it 2 more times. And I mean, he has, like, a vast several techniques that kind of go along with that, but yeah, it's just kind of a bunch of, you know, just have to understand. I mean, he's cold as ice. I mean, that's definitely the thing, is he's pretty much one of probably the toughest boxers in the whole Punch-Out series, but then again, I don't really know many of the other ones. I mean, I really hated Soda Popinski in the first Punch-Out. I mean, I don't know how many boxers were tougher than him after that, but I can't figure out a way of beating him on the NES Classic. And then, of course, Mr. Dream / Mike Tyson. I mean, some of those are... But yeah, so it's fun. You know, I don't want to sound overtly negative, like I'm just being a Debbie Downer or something like that, but I'm kind of miffed over the fact that I don't know if I'll be able to beat this game regularly without an astronomical amount of practice, because I saw some people that already have this playthrough up on YouTube, and they just plain did emulation with it, and it's kind of, I mean, the degree that you would have to keep practicing this stuff just to be able to beat these guys is pretty strong, and that's the thing. I mean, like, there's a few folks that are just happen to be really skilled at the game, but it takes way more practice than what most people probably know what to do with. And that's the thing. I mean, for folks that are trying to get pointers on how to beat this guy, the main thing is keep your special meter up, which means paying attention to his attacks. I mean, he's not so terrible if you know what he's going to do, but, like, I can recommend to you, when you hit him and he tries to counter punch, just dodge out of the way, and then you can hit him again and get, like, some real good hits on him afterward. But most of the time he has some sort of counter attack, and as long as you have your special meter up, you can, I mean, he's not quite as bad as Hoy Corlo or Narcissus Prince. He probably has the weakest defense out of all the 4 fighters in the special circuit, but that's not saying much because he can take a lot of hits. So you really need your special meter, and that's just kind of the thing there. But unfortunately, I cannot come up with a means of actually beating this guy It's like, I mean, I don't know how many times I would have to play this just to be able to do it. I was proud of the fact that I knocked him down once, so this is kind of... So. But, yeah, and that's another thing you want to do is just kind of keep getting... You want to keep getting counters on him. And that's a one hit. I mean, you definitely, every time he jumps and knocks you to the ground like that, you definitely want to jump out of the way because that's a one hit type thing. That's my phone. So. I mean, I can actually contend with this guy. It's just the fact that he's still probably a couple steps ahead of me, which I hate to say, but, you know, despite, I mean, that's the thing about this game. Even getting to this guy is an accomplishment, but you just have to really kind of pay attention to that. I have to work on the furnace today, so I have to kind of halfway pay attention, trying to see if, like, I'm needed or something, but... Yeah, so. Yeah, and that's like a real annoying move, that uppercut slash elbow. That'll definitely take care of Lil Mac pretty quickly. So this is kind of having a rough day, buddy. I'll tell my brother you said hi. The thing about these guys is no one really knows much of anything. Hang on. Alright, I'm back. So, getting some stuff at the house taken care of. But, so yeah, like I was saying, no one really knows much of anything about the Bruiser brothers. I mean, they don't know where they're from, they don't know their age. Mostly nothing besides their name. And, the game just doesn't provide very much details about them either. That's kind of how you can tell sometimes when a character is going to be a one-shot, is just when they don't provide details about, like, some of the stuff about them. Because I don't know what the difference would have been if they would have said that, like, the guy worked at, like, a barbecue pit or something like that, or he was, like, some sort of, like he took, I mean, you would think Nintendo would have no problem with talking about steroids. I mean, I know it's a drug, but, just to kind of say that, it might give him an extra sense of being menacing if these guys were roid-induced, something like that, but I don't know. I mean, that's just kind of the thing, is I would have liked at least the extra fittingness just to know an extra detail or two about them, because it just is difficult to have, like, connections with these guys rather than just the fact that they're just the final characters in the game. But that's kind of the point, is you're not really... But by this point, if you're expecting me to at least knock them down like I did before, doesn't really happen, just because I'm not angry at this stage, but I'm getting kind of worn out physically just with it. I mean, I realize that this guy is going to be tougher than the current window that I have for being able to play the game at that time, so... It was just, I mean, I did it just in hopes that I could at least make it entertaining and give you more than just 7 or 8 minutes to watch, but the unfortunate thing is he just has too many tricks up his sleeve. So, that's just kind of the thing about it. But yeah, so Nick Bruiser, the thing with him, I mean, really, I've seen some of his techniques, and the thing about Nick Bruiser is the fact that he doesn't quite have as many, but he still can be a bastard because he can pretty much knock you down in one hit. And also, what am I trying to say here? I mean, the whole thing about it is if you lose all your lives to him, you're basically, have to turn it off and fight the other 3 fighters again, at least. I mean, if you get a game over, then you're doing all 3 circuits over and you have to delete the file. So main idea, just turn off the Nintendo when you see me doing that. I mean, if you want to keep getting to this guy, that's like the whole point. So, but yeah, I just kind of underestimated how much of bastards these guys could be. And that's really like the thing is I didn't think that the learning curve was going to be this steep just between Hoy Carlo and then Rick Bruiser. So, I mean, it really is. I mean, when I saw on Game Facts that it said basically that that this game's difficulty setting is tough. I mean, tough is like probably not within most folks' skill range. I mean, there may be some folks that can do like Fight Night and some of those realistic boxing games, but this is different. I mean, that's kind of, I mean, honestly, this it's more based upon like patterns and couple techniques. I mean, it's cartoony, but it's still like I would say this game and Mike Tyson's Punch-Out are both really particularly tough games. They're more based upon like, that's the thing about like the old Nintendo and Super Nintendo games. It's just all of them happen to just not really know how to turn down the difficulty setting. They haven't really figured that out. So that's kind of where I'm just like, there's no way of hitting him when he does that technique. I think you're supposed to dodge to the right to be able to. I mean, I feel like I could probably get off like at least 2 or 3 hits on him if that uppercut move that he does across the screen, I could hit him after dodging it, but it just isn't, you know, there's just no way of hitting it. I think you have to dodge to the other side, and I feel like most people probably dodge to the left just because it's easier to kind of go with that, but there's just no way of figuring out the patterns, because, I mean, you have to be really alert. This game really tries to hone your reflexes and stuff, so just kind of understand that. I mean, if it sounds like I'm complaining the whole time, it's only because I don't like the techniques that you have to use to be able to defeat this guy. So it's just a lot of different kind of things as far as trying to do it. I mean, once you beat these 2 fighters, the clout is just extremely good, but I don't even know how many people nowadays would remember this game. Just kind of the thing. I mean, within gaming circles, but you know, the fact that 1994, I mean, there's people who are full-blown, you know, easily parents and a half in some cases. You know, they could have kids like probably 3rd, 4th grade by this point, something that is like the whole thing. So this is kind of, I mean, I don't know. I mean, this gets kind of tricky as far as like, you know, trying to say, just kind of losing traits of what I'm trying to say here. It's just the fact that Punch-Out just happens to be, you know, every game in this series is going to be tough. I mean, there's no, if you're trying to sign up and say I want to play Punch-Out, you have to understand that it's just it comes with the learning curve. So I mean, it's definitely a clout thing to be able to do it, but I don't know. Video games are just getting difficult. Like, I don't know who actually cares about those achievements in the Xbox. And also, then you also have to talk about the ones for PlayStation. I forget what those are called, but there's something, they're not called achievements for the PlayStation. And, you know, you can have like 30,000, 50,000, 100,000 across all these years, but it just seems like it's underappreciated. I mean, you should at least get like a free pizza. I think that they should coincide. You would think 100,000 or 50,000 score, you could get a free pizza from Pizza Hut and say, hey, you played like over 50 video games, have a free $7 pizza. Alright, stay tuned for next time.